with us. So I'll give you a little recap. Where we ended up, we'll go backwards from where we ended up. I'm just stalling for time. We got as far as Krishna and the cowherd boys entering into the mouth of Aghasura. Ooh. It is a very nice pastime. And the mood leading up to the cowherd boys entering into the mouth of Aghasura was play. And they were playing, and they were playing, and they were playing, and they were playing. And in that section of the cowherd boys doing what they do with Krishna, that's just playing and playing, there comes this very well-known phrase, Krita Punya Punja. Shh. Krita Punya Punja, Prabhupada repeated, I'd be a rich man if I had a penny for every time he repeated it. Krita Punya Punja. So how many lifetimes of pious activities have these cowherd boys performed? And it wasn't the punya of opening a hospital and feeding the poor and, those are punya. But this a transcendental punya is knowingly or unknowingly, just like these kirtan devotees. Krita Punya Punja. Right? It's transcendental punya. Everything that's in this world has its spiritual counterpart. And these cowherd boys, they didn't do the material. They did the spiritual counterpart. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And what were they doing? They were just playing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and snatching each other's lunch bag and tossing it over here and tossing it over there. And the whole pastime begins. It's really nice. I'm stalling for time still. Are we on screen? Oh, look at this. Okay. Krishna woke up in the morning, as he works up every morning. He doesn't need to sleep, but he woke up in the morning and he transcendentally decided, let's, instead of having breakfast with Mother Yashoda here in Nandagram, I want to go out and have a picnic with the cowherd boys in the forest with the calves. Because what's Krishna's age? 4 years, 4 months. But he was so precocious. He wanted to take care of the cows. And his father said, no, the cows are too big. And Krishna was insisting, and you know how little kids can be. And he said, okay, you can take care of the calves. So they had a big festival. Big festival. Krishna's going to take care of the calves, of course, with all the cowherd boys. And they didn't take care of the calves. They just played. And the calves followed them wherever they went, wherever they went. And the cowherd boys followed Krishna wherever he went, wherever he went. You follow the leader. And he's the leader, just natural, the transcendental leader. And playing. And then they saw this gigantic thing. They thought maybe it was a playground. Kids have playgrounds where it looks like an animal or a bird or something, and there's just a place to play. That's what they initially thought. But when they got closer, they smelled this bad fishy smell coming from the serpent's mouth. And they thought, uh-oh, maybe this is a demon that wants to kill us. But anyway, if even he's a demon, because he already just killed Bakasura, just like that, so he'll take care of this guy. Let's go. And off they went inside. It's a really nice section. Krishna didn't want them to go inside. And they went inside. Well, wait a minute. He's the supreme controller. And he doesn't have to do anything. He just has to have a desire, isn't it? Icha, and all of his Shaktis do what Krishna wants because they know what Krishna wants and they have all power from him to do what Krishna wants. But, this is commentary, Lila Shakti superseded. They knew what Krishna wanted. Lila Shakti knew. And so Lila Shakti arranged for the cowherd boys to go right ahead and go inside the mouth of a Gasura demon. And Krishna was astonished. The idea is, it's rasa. What's rasa? Rasa means taste or mellow. You know, like honey has a rasa. Salt has a rasa. Everything that you eat, it has a certain taste. So there's a taste of astonishment. Lila Shakti wanted Krishna to experience, so Lila Shakti arranged for Krishna. And then he had to summon his superlative intelligence and figure out what to do. Of course, he figured out what to do because he's the supreme intelligent. It was just, there was a rasa exchange arranged by Lila Shakti. And sometimes Lila Shakti looks like he's working against Krishna, but it's not never working against Krishna. So what did Krishna do? He entered in the mouth of Agasura, and Agasura closed his big mouth, and Krishna got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's a python, so he got bigger and bigger, and Krishna got bigger than the python. And his life air burst from the soft spot in the top of the head, just like people have, so apparently snakes also have. Boop! And when that soul left the body of the big python, Krishna went marching out with the cowherd, but they still haven't had breakfast yet. That's where they went out early. Ooh, let's go. And off they went. So now, chapter 13. Chapter 13. They're going to sit down and have lunch, or breakfast, late lunch. After, killing demons, that's what you got to do. You got to have breakfast. So that's where we are. And now that was a warm-up. Now, everyone, is there anyone that cannot see either this one or that one? Really? Downstairs? Okay. Traffic cop. You're up front. You got to come a little further up front. You come right up behind him and da-da-da-da-da-da. And those that are standing on the steps and out in the Nowheresville can come on inside. How was that? You guys sure you want to stay here, right? I'm used to kirtan, fine. As soon as the kata starts, see you later. Call me when the next kirtan. But you guys are you like both, huh? There's some nice pictures, at least. You can like nice pictures. I think this young man he's not sure he wants to be here. Are you sure you want to be here? Don't look over your shoulder. You want to? Your mom was trying to get you to come inside, and you were like, "I'm going out of here." Do you want to be here or not? If you don't want to be here, you don't have to. If you want to be here, come on in. Okay. Okay. So 4 years, 4 months, think of someone that you know, or a young boy around that age, 4 years, 4 months. They're playful. And Krishna is mega playful. He's, no one can be as playful as Krishna is, and the cowherd boys. So here we go, the beginning of chapter 13. And we're not going to go too far into chapter 13 because we're going to have the arti and everything afterwards. Shukadev Goswami said, "Oh, best of the devotees, most fortunate Parikshit, you have inquired very nicely, for although constantly hearing the pastimes of the Lord, you are perceiving his activities to be newer and newer." Where's my glasses case? There was a glasses case. Where's the glasses case? You put it back in the bag? Where is it? Oh. One moment, please. I can't read my computer with distance glasses.
Can you put the mic stand?
You can put the mic stand. Put it over here. Put it over here. Amar, you got a lot of friends. Okay. So now, Srila Prabhupada comments on this. Even though advanced devotees hear continually about the Lord for years, they still feel that these topics are coming to them as newer and fresher. Nityam Nava Navaya Manaha Manam. Unless one is very advanced in Krishna consciousness, one cannot stick to hearing the pastimes of the Lord constantly. Kirtan is okay, but philosophy... But this isn't philosophy. This is philosophy, but it's pastimes. There's a very nice statement that I use with the whole Agasura Lila. I read it several times, and the one before that. The pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, the pastimes of Krishna's childhood, which is in Vrindavan, have a very special potency. Besides, they're very sweet. The sweetness, part of the sweetness is that his divinity is so concealed that even when he shows his Aishvarya, they don't take it as Aishvarya. They have some other explanation. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that, who knows. But we have to protect our son, or our dear friend, he'll protect us. They don't see his divinity. That's part of the sweetness. Water. There's some, I'm sure you have some water in the house. The sweetness of Krishna's pastimes. And there's a certain potency or purity in those childhood pastimes that awakens Braja Prem. I mean, there's prema that comes from following vidhis. We discussed this a little bit during our little seminar, the position of spontaneous love is the platform of the devotees in Vrindavan. You know, they do things and don't do things that are supposed to be done and not supposed to be done. They observe vidhis, but that's not their platform. Their platform is spontaneous love. And so by hearing these activities of Krishna, he loves it. He loves their love, and he comes to engage in loving exchange with them, and they engage in loving exchange, and we're hearing of the spiritual world. Now, there was a little document that some of you should have received, and if you haven't received it, you can complain to Vangsidhari, he'll make sure you get the little document. But it's a little document that says, in Goloka, in Upper Goloka, there's no childhood pastimes. What? No childhood pastimes. Prabhupada's explanation to Ekiani is there's no birth, so there's no childhood pastimes. There's no birth, death, disease, and old age in Goloka. And so there's no childhood pastimes. Here, there's childhood pastimes. But Prabhupada writes, he is eternally 16 in the spiritual world. So where do the childhood pastimes come from? The answer is they're within, but he doesn't display them. There's affection, Vatsalya rasa affection for a young boy, but not Vatsalya rasa affection for little Bala, Krishna, and Balaram. There's no exchange like that, although it's within Krishna. And it's within the capacity of Yashoda and Nanda, their eternal associates. But the Leela, so it's very special Leela. Krishna likes. And when Krishna likes, guess what? Something happens inside us. Know it or not, I mean, they're sweet, but something is going on just by hearing these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful pastimes. Now, the painting that you see on the screen, this is Gadadhar Pandit, surrounded by Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, and a number of other associates, prostrating himself before everybody as King Prataparudra, and Haridas Thakur is that tall fellow with the beard over there on the right. He's hearing the katha, and et cetera, all these personalities are specific associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they're engaged in hearing Gadadhar Pandit recite Srimad Bhagavatam. Now his Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't look like ours, because it doesn't have the Bhaktivedanta purports. But it's the Bhagavatam, and Gadadhar Pandit recited and recited and recited. Mahaprabhu came every day to hear Srimad Bhagavatam class with Gadadhar Pandit, and hearing again and again. And when he was done with the pastime, he would say it again, as if it was newer and newer and newer. So unless one is very advanced in Krishna consciousness, one cannot stick to hearing the pastimes of the Lord constantly. Shukadev Goswami, this is again Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Shukadev Goswami addresses Parikshit as the best of the devotees. Maharaj Parikshit is wondering, how are you saying I'm Bhagavat Uttama? I'm the best amongst the devotees. Shukadev, you always take the topics of Krishna as fresh. Even if heard before, you hear the topics with relish as if you had not heard them before. Newer and newer and newer and newer. Next verse. Text 2. Paramahamsas, devotees who have accepted the essence of life, are attached to Krishna in the core of their hearts. And he, Krishna, is the aim of their lives. It is their nature to talk only of Krishna. At every moment, they are attached to such topics, just as materialists are attached to topics of women and sex. So, this is speaking of a stage of bhakti older generation folks in technology. It's not the first time. Okay, so in Madhurya Kandambani, there's a very clear explanation, and I'll just repeat it because you heard it. There's a stage, one of the elevated stages of sadhana bhakti is ruchi. And above ruchi is asakti. And ruchi, Vishwanath says, there's a taste for hearing and chanting. That's what's being described here. That's ruchi. That's not bhava and prema. It's sadhana. But there's a taste for hearing and chanting. And then the distinction between ruchi and asakti is it's not attachment for hearing and chanting, it's attachment for the object of hearing and chanting. And in the stage of ruchi, it's guided by intelligence. In the stage of asakti, it's spontaneous. There's no intelligence driving the mind. The mind just goes because it's attachment. That's the spontaneous stage. Spontaneous in the sadhana stage. It's before bhava bhakti. So Shukadeva Goswami is narrating Krishna's pastimes in childhood in Vrindavan. And Maharaj Parikshit is sitting on the edge of a straw mat. He's really eager to hear and eager to hear and eager to hear and eager to hear. And Shukadeva Goswami says, wow, that's the kind of devotee you are. I can tell that because you're eager to hear, and you've heard it. You know Krishna's pastimes. You're Maharaj Parikshit. You're a pure devotee. But you want to hear it again and hear it again and hear it again because the topics, they're so sweet, so wonderful. Prabhupada's purport. The hangsa, or swan, accepts milk from a mixture of milk and water and rejects the water. Similarly, the nature of persons who have taken to spiritual life and Krishna consciousness, that's sadhakas, understanding Krishna to be the life and soul of everyone, is that they cannot give up Krishna Katha. Not like they try to give up Krishna Katha, but they can't. Kama, desires. Krodha, anger. And bhaya, or fear, are always present in the material world. But in the spiritual or transcendental world, one can use them for Krishna. This question comes up sometimes. The Chinese devotees, they like to ask these boomerang questions. How do you use anger in Krishna service? Okay, let's hear. This is Srila Prabhupada. Kamam, Krishna karmarpane. The desire of the Paramahamsa, therefore, is to act always for Krishna. Standing in line with everybody else. Like he's everybody else, but he's, behind him is his disciple. And they're standing in line. To board a plane, apparently. And so why boarding a plane? He just ride his cane and go off into the spiritual world or whatever he wants to do. He's setting an example. Doing as a Paramahamsa, acting always for Krishna. Krodham bhakta dveshi jane. They use anger against those who are against devotional service. Transform bhaya, or fear, into fear of being deviated from Krishna consciousness. Narottam Das Thakur has some nice songs just like that. The only thing I fear is forgetting Krishna. At the time of death, if I don't remember Krishna, how horrible. Birth again. Jiva Goswami, in his commentary on, we haven't gone so far into the chapter because it's a nice topic. It's the topic of how sound carries one. How can topics already heard become newer? Answer. The Lord is called Achyuta because he never deviates from rasa at any time, in the least, for any reason at all. Topics concerning him are the same. It's filled with rasa. Now, material rasa, just like, how many sweets can you eat? And at a certain point, even if you're a youngster, at a certain point, it's no thanks. Have another one. No thanks. There's the satiation. And in spiritual rasa, there's no satiation. It gets tastier and tastier and tastier and tastier. Therefore, this Jiva Goswami writes, such topics are rightly, or sadhu, as if new at every moment. They are reborn with greater taste than previously. So we got through 2 texts. Now we're going on to text number 3. O King, Shukadev still addressing King Parikshit, kindly hear me with great attention. Although the activities of the Supreme Lord are very confidential, no ordinary man being able to understand them, I shall speak about them to you. For spiritual masters explain to a submissive disciple even subject matters that are very confidential and difficult to understand. This happens a lot. First impressions are lasting impressions. You've heard that phrase before? So one of those first impressions was, I repeated this many times, from 1970 summer in Boston, the standard was already solidly in place. Morning Bhagavatam, evening Bhagavad Gita. And everyone in the temple attended morning Bhagavatam, evening Bhagavatam, except the cooks in the kitchen. That even, the pujaris, the deity worship was over and they're attending the class. Everybody. Morning, evening. And then came, during the summer of 1970, came Nectar of Devotion, paperback. So what are we going to do? Prabhupada had a solution. After lunch. Great time to have a class, right? After lunch. But that was the plan. And every day. And his explanation, because he knew that we would not understand everything, so he said what to do when you don't understand it. Hear it again. We discussed this over the weekend. And if you don't understand it after reading it again, read it again. And if you don't understand it after the 3rd time, read it again. And however many times, and eventually, this puzzle piece fits together, that puzzle piece. Now I see a little bit of light through that cloudiness, and I'm starting to understand. So let me hear it again, and so slowly by slowly. Even very difficult to understand and confidential topics, like some of the things that are taught in Nectar of Devotion for new people, because we're all new people. I mean, some had Prabhupada's association, but most of us were new people that just had association of those that had association. And that was good enough. And if we didn't understand, then this is what we, because the spiritual Prabhupada was giving us things confidential, difficult to understand, but here it is. And standing for after he would depart this world. That he knew what he was doing. Okay. Next verse. In this way, ta-ta, saving the calves and the boys from Agga's mouth, which was death itself, the Lord brought them to the riverbank and spoke. See, there's the cows, or the calves and the cowherd boys, and they're at the riverbank. See that guy up on the hill? That's a gusser all twisted up. He's finished, that guy. So they're now down by the river, and that's this nice description. My dear friends, just see how this riverbank is extremely beautiful. These are 4-year-old boys. Because of its pleasing atmosphere, and just see how the blooming lotuses are attracting bees and birds by their aroma. The humming and chirping of the bees and birds, humming of the bees and chirping of the birds, is echoing throughout the beautiful trees in the forest. Also, hear The sands are clean and soft. Therefore, this must be considered the best place for our sporting pastimes. No, they haven't had breakfast yet. In fact, that was said. When Krishna knew they hadn't had breakfast yet, the boys are just so absorbed in playing. Now is the time. As Super Soul within the heart of Agasura, he had Agasura crawl over and try to swallow everybody because that would interrupt the playing pastime. Oh, friends, this place is just suitable for us to eat our meal. And then the place is described. The place has a wealth of things suitable for playing, fighting, and eating in rows. There is soft, clean sand for sitting. The bees hum as if singing for us. There are lotus leaves to use as plates. There is fragrant, clear, cool water. And the shade of trees wards off the hot autumn sun. It's still morning, but it's getting hot already. Autumn. I think we should take our lunch. They skip breakfast. Since we are already hungry because the time is very late. Here, the calves may drink water and go slowly here and there and eat the grass. Some very nice paintings, yes? Now, look closely at that tree. You see that demon flying in the treetops? I don't know what that is. Some other pastime, because there's no Krishna tossing a demon into the trees at this stage. Okay. Next verse. Accepting Lord Krishna's proposal, look at, they're sitting under this tree, ready for lunch. The cowherd boys allowed the calves to drink water from the river and then tied them to trees where there was green, tender grass. Then the boys opened their baskets of food and began eating with Krishna in great transcendental pleasure. So we don't have that privilege. We do Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti when it's, we have a formal way. You offer at the altar, you cook, and, we offer to Krishna in a formal way, and then we take prasadam. These boys just, sat with Krishna and had lunch. They're very special personalities. So, commentary. Previous to entering Aga's stomach, they had hung their lunch packets on trees so that they could play comfortably. Now they opened the packets. Or there's another reading from the Sanskrit. Or they entered Aga's stomach with their packets, but by the Lord's power, the lunches didn't get affected. Jiva Goswami. Next verse. Like the whirl of a lotus flower, surrounded by its petals and leaves, Krishna sat in the center, encircled by lines of his friends who all looked very beautiful. In the previous chapter 12, there's a description of how many calves and how many cowherd boys. Those of you that weren't with us, how many? Those of you that were with us, how many? Asankhya. What does that mean? Too many to count. So we circulated another document that explains how the unlimited numbers fit into a little space. And it has to do with Krishna can expand a little space. The dust of the feet from Krishna has the whole universe inside. So what to speak of the land of Vraja? There's no limit. Is there a limit to that which has no limit? No. So that which has no limit can fit anything, no problem. If you're Krishna, it's no problem. If you're not Krishna, it's a problem. Like we can only fit so many people in this room. But they can fit a lot of cowherd boys sitting having lunch with Krishna. And They all saw that Krishna was just looking at them. Krishna's attached to me. We can't do that. It's not like Krishna had a rubberneck and he just like looked everywhere in all directions or something like that. He has the capacity by his mystic powers to make that appearance. Everyone was trying to look forward toward Krishna, thinking that Krishna might look toward them. In this way, they all enjoyed their lunch in the forest. Another nice painting of lunch with Krishna. Here's how they arranged things for eating. The boys sat in lines on all sides of Krishna. Out of love, they wanted to face Krishna, and by his Sarva Sankalpa Shakti, it was achieved. Now, in the previous Satya Sankalpa Shakti, in the Damodar Lila, remember the Damodar Lila? Wasn't too many chapters ago, it's just chapter 9. In the Damodar Lila, Krishna didn't want to be bound by anything because he's the unlimited. So he had that desire, and his Satya Sankalpa Shakti knew what his desire was, and the rope of Mother Yasoda couldn't go around Krishna because that's what Satya Sankalpa Shakti took care of. And then he withdrew it when he saw Mother Yasoda was in difficulty. And so she could bind him with her love, not with the rope. Similar, but different Sanskrit, this is Sarva Sankalpa Ta Shakti. It was all achieved. They wanted to seek Krishna's face. Krishna's face and limbs appeared in all directions at once. From the Purusha Sukta prayers. Now, if you're not a Gaudiya Vaishnava or a devotee of Krishna, at least, if you're not a devotee of Krishna, the Purusha Sukta prayers mean something else. And then to the impersonalist, it means something else. And something else. The Purusha Sukta prayers don't change, but how one views the Purusha Sukta prayers can take on different perspectives depending upon the consciousness of the observer. And our Gaudiya Acharyas are observers of Krishna's pastime, where because of the devotees, Krishna appeared in this world to fulfill the desire to engage in rasa with his loving devotees. And they want to be with Krishna, face to face. So his Sarva Sankalpita Shakti arranged it. So Krishna's face and limbs appeared in all directions at once. Each boy thought, I am sitting on the nearest row facing Krishna. Others are sitting at a distance with their backs or sides to Krishna. Vishwanath Chakravarti writes, Saha Vapa Vista means that they sat with no spaces between them. I mean, not just a little space, no space. How's that? Transcendental, that's how. Oh, come on, you guys, you Hare Krishna guys. As if it's this, it can't be that. It can be this and it can be that at the same time. No problema. Oh, come on. Yeah. Now, we don't have that experience because we're not elevated like these cowherd boys, but the cowherd boys have the experience. And we believe it? Yes, we believe it. And what's the basis of your belief, please? That the unlimited is unlimited. We're limited, but we're not. But he's not limited, and so there's nothing outside of the capacity of the unlimited to do, and so he can do everything and everything. Next verse, among the cowherd boys, some placed their lunch on flowers, some on leaves, fruits, or bunches of leaves, and some actually in their baskets, and some on the bark of trees, and some on rocks. This is what the children imagined to be their plates as they ate their lunch. Notice one little boy is stealing food from Krishna's plate. Another boy is fanning Krishna. And they're all little boys doing little boy things with Krishna in the center. Jiva Goswami comments, after describing the eating pastimes of the Lord along with the boys, Shukadev now describes Krishna's activities in particular. And here's the Sanskrit of the verse with big letters, Yagya Bhuk Bala Keli. Bala Keli. Bala Keli. Childhood pastimes. Bala Keli. Yagya Bhuk Bala Keli. He sat with his flute tucked between his waist and his tight cloth on his right side, and with his horn bugle and cow driving stick on his left. Very orderly. He held in his fingers, his left hand, various pickled fruits suitable to eat with yogurt and rice. Then he ate with his right hand, right? He knew the custom. Coming on their own, the Devatas watched. Now, this painting is cropped in such a way you don't see the Devatas. But the full painting, you can see the Devatas, they're flying up in the sky. They're like, want to check it out. They want to experience. They can't participate in, but they can view, not like, on television, they can view firsthand Krishna's pastimes in Vraja because they're so attractive. In the midst of eating, he played by accepting the food with joking, praising, criticizing, eating, making faces, and laughing with them, all or individually, while examining the food. Playful. Now, the contrast, there's Jiva Goswami speaking about this phrase, Yagya Bhuk Balakeli. And he has different meanings. On the left, the painting is a formal yagya, where with mantra, the brahmanas offer oblations and ghee and grain, or they're feeding the fire, and right, it's the tongue of Vishnu, right? Yagya Bhuk. Krishna, who is worshipped by offering him oblations, which he eats simply by acceptance, was now playing like a human child and eating like young boy in the picnic. This is the sweetness of this pastime. So again, different followers of the Vedas have different ways of feeding Vishnu. In yoga, they offer this and that. And, to some of us, it's like, what are they doing? And for them, they know what they're doing. They're offering to Vishnu. Some of you were attending this little event we had over the past weekend, and there was a little document that was circulated about Murari Gupta. And in Murari Gupta, there was a little pastime. Murari Gupta, his wife, he was a householder. He was approximately 8 years older than Nimai. Approximately. And how did I get that number? From the authority that I get information from, that's Varsana Swami, and where his authority was somewhere in Scripture, somewhere around 8 years older. So later on, in their childhood pastimes, Nimai became married, and Murari Gupta became married. Murari Gupta had a wife, and his wife thought, my husband's a little eccentric. Because sometimes he would take some grain, say some mantras, wave it in the air, and throw it on the floor. And then he'd do it again, and she'd prepared all this stuff, and the next day Nimai came with indigestion, and Murari Gupta healed his indigestion, and when asked, how'd you get this indigestion, he said, yesterday you were making so many offerings and you wouldn't stop. And I got indigestion. Different pastimes by the Supreme Lord and his loving devotees. Because that's what it is. In his exchange, that's what it is. Exchange of love. And he has all unlimited potency to do unlimited things, and it's all about exchange of love. It's rasa, bhakti rasa, with different devotees who have different primary, and then different secondary, and that's the Supreme Lord with his devotees. And if you don't go to the rasa picture, it's like, what's going on? And it's fun, and it's attractive, but you don't understand what's going on without rasa. And if you understand if you have a little, and then it can grow and grow and grow, but it start with a little understanding. It's all rasa. So he's having his lunch, late breakfast, lunch, whatever, with the cowherd boys, and it's yagyabuk. Yagyabuk is the term that goes with Vedic yagyas. He's the bhokta, the enjoyer of the yagya. Bhoktaram jagatapas, same Sanskrit root. Yagyabuk. And now the yagyabuk, as he's sitting with his cowherd boyfriends, playfully joking and laughing and looking at the food and making some comments, and they're laughing and having a great time. It's a different mood. It's Vrindavan. Here's meaning number 2. Another interpretation by using sandhi rules in Sanskrit is to make the word yagyabuk. Yagyabuk. Playing with the other boys, he did not accept the sacrificial offerings made with great effort. But he was enjoying with the cowherd boys. His pastimes. And our acharyas like considering his pastimes from different perspectives. Next verse. Oh, Maharaj Parikshit. While the cowherd boys, who knew nothing within the core of their hearts but Krishna, were thus engaged in eating their lunch in the forest, the calves went far away, deep into the forest, being allured by green grass. The boys ate without stopping, or ate while thinking of Krishna. So Krishna is going to begin contemplating what to do about the missing cowherd, the missing calves. The calves, desiring soft, sweet grass, went further and further away. Or the calves which were confined to one area of grass and had finished that grass became greedy for other grass out of hunger, while the boys were absorbed in eating. Or Lord Brahma cast a spell. He has mystic powers. The calves developed greed for grass by Brahma's will. Otherwise, they could not leave the Lord. Shukadev Goswami cries out in grief because of the great misfortune that would arise amidst the great bliss. Sanatana Goswami. So what does Krishna say? You keep eating, I'll find the calves, which fit in with Lord Brahma's plan, because Krishna is omniscient. He knows his plan before it happens. He knows. So, seeing the fear in the boys, Krishna, who gives fear to fear, said in affection, "Oh friends, do not interrupt your eating. I alone will bring back all the calves." And sure enough, he brought back all the calves. In the presence of Krishna's friendship, a devotee cannot have any fear. Whoops, what happened? Went the wrong direction. Bhayam dutriyam viniveshitakshat. Fear arises because of lack of Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada comments. For one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, this material world of fear becomes hardly dangerous at all. That is, their fear was a transcendental emotion. Here we are with the rasa topic again. Krishna was stimulating their primary rasa is primary rasa, their friends in Vrindavan. And then there's there's 7 secondary, and then there's subsets of those 7 secondary. And Krishna is stimulating the rasas of love. Because Krishna is attached to the cows and the calves, so they're attached to the cows and the calves, but that's because of their attachment to Krishna. Next verse. Let me go and search for the calves, Krishna said. Don't disturb your enjoyment. Then, carrying his yogurt and rice in his hand, and this is important because when he meets up with Lord Brahma, he's still got the yogurt and rice in his hand, his left hand, because he eats with his right hand. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna immediately went out to search for the calves of his friends. To please his friends, he began searching in all mountains, mountain caves, bushes, and narrow passages. It's not like he didn't know. Not like he didn't know. It's just Lila he knows. Next verse. Oh, Maharaj Pariksit, Brahma, who resides in the higher planetary system in the sky, had observed the activities of the most powerful Krishna in killing and delivering Aghasura, and he was astonished. Look in the painting in the upper right corner. There you see Lord Brahma. And he was watching the whole thing. Other demigods also shown in the upper parts of the painting. But he was astonished. Like, wow. What's the limit of this little boy's power? I mean, he became covered, like we're covered. He's not like but it's a pastime. So he gets the pass to be covered by Krishna's arrangement. Now that same Brahma wanted to show some of his own power and see the power of Krishna, who was engaged in his childhood pastimes, playing as if with ordinary cowherd boys. So he became, covered, diluted. Let me match my power against his power and see what he's going to do. Maybe he'll cry, you little boy. Maybe he'll, something. I want to see what he's going to do. Therefore, in Krishna's absence, Brahma took all the boys and calves to another place. Thus, he, Brahma, became entangled, for in the very near future he would see how powerful Krishna was. We're getting close to an abrupt ending, so get ready. Who were the cowherd boys that were stolen by Brahma? Answer, it can't take Krishna's his own spiritual potency away. Sorry, Charlie. Not possible. Brahma wanted to take away Krishna's associates, but instead he took away some other boys and calves. There's the cave. Brahma put the boys and the calves in the cave. Ravana wanted to take away Sita. This is Srila Prabhupada's purport. But that was impossible, and instead he took only a Maya Sita. Similarly, Brahma took away Maya Brika, Mayar Baka, Arbaka, boys manifested by Krishna's Maya. Brahma could show some extraordinary opulence to the Mayar Baka, but he could not show any extraordinary potency to Krishna's associates. the commentaries of Vishwanath and Jiva Goswami. By Brahma's power of illusion, the boys were put to sleep, those who were put in the cave. But this was allowed for the production of pastimes. Thus, they were put to sleep by Krishna's Yogamaya potency. Because a whole year passed. So what are they going to do for a whole year? Yogamaya sleep. Yoga Nidra. Thereafter, when Krishna was unable to find the calves, he returned to the bank of the river, but there he was also unable to see the cowherd boys. And thus he began to search for both the calves and the boys, as if he could not understand what happened. This image on the right, that's Vishwanath. In the statement, not seeing the calves, Krishna returned, one should understand that this was an appearance of not seeing them, for he knew where they were. He did this to make Brahma believe that he could bewilder anyone. Then he began looking for the boys and calves. Acting distressed, like an actor, he put on the appearance of looking for them. For a later verse says, quote, Brahma saw Krishna, the actor, Natyam, in the form of a cowherd boy. The chapter is about to end, so get ready. This not chapter, but this section. When Krishna was unable to find the calves and their caretakers, that's cowherd boys, anywhere in the forest, he could suddenly understand that this was the work of Lord Brahma. Beautiful painting, huh? Last slide. Though Krishna is omniscient, not seeing the calves in other fields and not seeing the boys on other banks, he began searching. Did Krishna understand the theft at the time of stealing, after the theft, or after looking for some time? The answer was none of the above. Without having to think, at the very time of the theft, Krishna could understand that it was the theft. Brahma had done it. Stay tuned for part 2 tomorrow. Now, many of us have heard this pastime many times, and there's something about these pastimes that they're sweet. Now, okay, tell another one. I've heard that one. I mean, sometimes people do that, but there's a special charm and all attractiveness that attracts the heart. So if you're hearing from the heart, not just the mind, then the sweetness of the exchanges that Krishna is going through with all levels. I mean, Brahma is not on the same. There's an intimacy with the cowherd boys that isn't shared with Lord Brahma. He's the observer of that intimacy, and he doesn't understand it. He's going to understand it better, but, Krita Punya Punja, many lifetimes of hearing and chanting and serving and worshiping and sacrifice for Krishna again and again. Then one may be eligible to be participant in Krishna's pastimes. And that's one of the discussions, by the way, it's one of the discussions in Madhurya Kandambani. In those upper bhava and prema stage, there are 2 leaves in the sadhana stage, 2 leaves in the bhava stage, 2 leaves in the prema stage. And the prema stage, there's this hankering to be in Krishna's direct association, to touch Krishna, to speak with Krishna, to stand with Krishna, to see Krishna. It's an elevated, to imitate it, no. There's names for imitation like that. But when it's genuine, like Mukunda's question this morning or topic this morning, or Shruti's, it's same. There's a stage where it's genuine, and to aspire for that someday that day may come. That's good, and then someday that day may come, and when that day may come, then there's nothing but. Like, the world considers such a person a madman because they don't so much relate to worldly stuff. They're relating to where's Krishna, where's Krishna. It's rasa. Ever fresh. As it's Navayovana. Krishna is ever fresh and his pastimes are ever fresh. And if that rasa attraction and appeal or taste has become awakened from the hearing and chanting, then eventually a taste and hearing and chanting, then eventually attachment to the object, then those higher stages may that day come for all of us. Initially it's the Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and following the vidhis of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, with an understanding of what's the purpose behind the vidhis, not just the vidhis, because there is a purpose. It's purification and plus awakening of love. Okay, any comments or questions? Yes. It's a trick microphone. It's got a special button. It's a concealed special button. There, you found it.
Maharaj, I was wondering, why did it say that there were like many reasons for the cow? There's a lot of ores. Why the cows are like weaving? Which one was it?
All of the above.
I mean, why is there not like one reason?
Well, because there doesn't have to be one reason. There can be multiple reasons. And if it's welcome to the world of mystery. Please come if arrangement makes it possible for you to come. Please come to the Gita Nagari Retreat Memorial Day weekend, because a person who can explain this so eloquently and elegantly and humorously is going to be with us. And it's not me, it's Garuda. And we had this fascinating discussion. I mean, I was sitting in a car, but I was rolling on the floor about the mystery of Krishna. And within Krishna is everything, and using the language he was using, our binary processor. If it's a 1, it's not a 0. If it's a 0, it's not a 1. Please, which is it? Is a 1 or a 0? And if the answer is it's both, go, come on. Which is it, a 1 or a 0? Look, I enter coding into robots, and I know it's a 1 or a 0. You know about robotics? You know, a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. So it's coding. I don't know. I just hear people talking about it. But that's computers. It's binary. It's a binary system. I don't know how it works, but they know how it works, and I hear them talk about it. But spiritual isn't binary. If it's this and that simultaneously, Sachinta Beta Beta Tattva, it can be simultaneously multiple things. Our little binary processor mind, it bounces. Come on.
Thank you, Maharaj.
So when it comes to topic, not just anything can get whitewashed like that, but when it comes to Krishna, it's this and that at the same time. At the same time. We discussed it in our little meeting. I'll share this with you. I was having it. Someone asked me, one of the Chinese devotees asked me, in Goloka, in Upper Goloka, in the spiritual sky where Krishna eternally resides, is he married or not married? Swakiya or Parakiya? Which is it? And the answer? Both. Come on. But within Krishna is everything. Okay, there's the possibility of this and that, but how can it be simultaneously both, please? Married, not married. And then he went into, a very nice discussion about the head wag. You know that one, right? What does this mean?
Yes.
It means yes, it means no, it means yes and no, it means maybe, it means none of the above, and there's 6 other things it could mean. Subtle. And somehow people don't have to ask the question, what do you mean? Because they know what they mean when they do this. He calls it the head wobble. So like people, some people, many people in India use that kind of, language. The transcendental realm, what to speak, the transcendental realm, simultaneous different things can be present. And it's not a problem, because within Krishna is everything. It's like the example that in Goloka there's no birth, so there's no childhood pastimes. But within Krishna is everything. So there's the bhava of the pastime, but there's no childhood pastime. But it's within Krishna, so he come to this world and has childhood pastimes. He's no one's child. He's the source of everyone and everything. So how do you wrap your mind around that one? It's unlimited and inconceivable, and within him is everything. That's the baseline. And then there's nothing he can't do. So there's the answer to your question.
Thank you, Maharaj.
All of the above. Okay. I see you.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I don't think I've composed this question properly, but I'm going to attempt.
Interesting preamble.
I'm attracted to the intimacy of relationships in Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna and devotees. So my understanding is one or the only way that we can be a part of it is by following our own spiritual master, who is a part of the pastime, like that. So by following our spiritual master, our disciplic succession, we may also be, in due course, be admitted.
Make it plural, please. Masters.
Masters, okay.
Because masters are in a line. And I invite you to read verse number 4 from Manashiksha. Verse number 1 and verse number 4 of Manashiksha. Raghunath Das Goswami gives the formula. So what you said is what he says, but in different language. And his language is better than your language because he knew how to say it properly. With attachment to these persons. He names Rupa's elder brother Sanatan, Sarup Damodar, because he learned everything, because those are persons he learned everything from, and he's attached to them. And, if the preamble is, if you would all want to be engaged directly in loving service of Radha and Krishna, do these things. Beware of pride. stay away from pride. And what is pride resting upon? It's resting upon identification with the body. So then beware of pride and follow, look up to, and become eternally the follower of these personalities. And then you have a pass. That's the password to get into the confidential past times. And it's a fact. He has direct experience, and he's inviting us in. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you
A
so
little
much.
further from your mouth. The microphone's good.
All right. So I'll try to take the Chinese boomerang and throw it to you today, while Chinese are not here. So I'm still, wondering about the growth, the fear, and my karma that I can use for Krishna consciousness. So is it okay, or is it like still a binary that, if I have a growth against who does not follow Krishna?
If you have a what?
Is it like a binary like 0 and 1 that just explained that it can be and cannot be? But is it good to have growth, a feeling of, anger against who is not Krishna consciousness?
Crowed, that's the word, crowed.
Growth,
Anger,
yeah,
okay.
anger.
Okay to have anger against yourself?
That it can be used for Krishna consciousness.
Well, I would say compassion. It depends on, the hurtfulness, the degree of hurtfulness of that person that is against Krishna consciousness. Those persons who are against Krishna conscious, some are, are kamsas, and some are just products of their conditioning. I mean, my thoughts are going to China. They have a objective. Communism. Communism has an enemy, God. Belief in God is an enemy because if people have belief in God, they have allegiance to God and not to the state, and that's a conflict. So they want to get rid of the conflict, and they do mean things. I mean, that's not like all ties bashing, but they do some mean things, and they intimidate people so that they comply. Anyway, they're good at it. So, hate them. They're just, like Prabhupada said, you know this story. Prabhupada said to Professor Katofsky, everyone has to have a leader. Just 4th chapter Bhagavad Gita. What's the difference between you and me? You accept Lenin, we accept Krishna, we accept a leader. We follow the leader, what the leader says. So, where's the difference? No, you're choosing Lenin, okay. I'm choosing Krishna, okay. But we're both following a leader. Now that we can evaluate who's the better leader to follow, Lenin or Krishna. So you don't hate. He didn't hate because he was following Lenin, but he was, using another method of helping him understand. How much he understood, who knows, but helping him understand the principle of. Why is it a good idea to accept Krishna? So you can't bring a person to the stage of higher consciousness by hate or fear or anger. So you get the idea. Yes.
Maharaj, thank you very much.
A little further away. It's a good microphone.
Generally, we think of the demigods as mixed devotees.
Yes.
So how is it that they're able to see all of Krishna's pastimes, like the Rasa Lila and everything?
They're fortunate. They're Vaishnava. They're elevated Vaishnavas. They're not just in heaven. They're leaders in heaven. They're very, very qualified with mixed, not Shuddha. No, they can see. They've got a special password.
After seeing the pastimes, such a fortune to see Krishna's Rasa Lila and to describe the demigods are watching, then do they become completely purified?
No. They're attached. And attachment keeps one from becoming fully purified, even when exposed to something. Is it possible to become unattached if you're a demigod and you experience Krishna's pastimes? Yes. But generally, the possibility doesn't fully manifest because they're attached. They like. I mean, that's happiness. That's how they got the post. They're good at it, and they're attached to it. They have some lakshana. They have some characteristics of a good demigod, so they get the post.
I have one more question. Right?
Yeah, a little further away though.
I heard that somewhere that Lord Brahma came back as Haridas Thakur because and just chanted the holy name because he felt so repentant for his offense to Krishna. And I just heard it somewhere. I was wondering if maybe if this is authorized or if this is true.
Probably, but I don't. To say probably is not a very good answer. But here's what I will do. You send me a little text message afterwards, and I probably won't remember, but just in case I forget. That my go-to person for stuff like this is Varsana Swami. Because of that exchange, I had a little exchange with him where that picture of Krishna, Nimai Pandit passing water on the lunch of Murari Gupta. What's the story behind this? And he sent this long document. And then I told him I shared this with our group. Then he sent me document number 2. And Vangshidhari, did you circulate document number 2? Murari Gupta, part 2? Vangshidhari. He's upstairs watching. Working. Okay. Well, did anybody receive Murari Gupta part 2? No. Okay. Just now coming. Okay, so I'll send it. You remind me to send that to him. I'll send that to him. And did I send you Murari Gupta part 2 and ask you to circulate that or no? Okay. You have a good memory, and I don't. So you remind me. You don't have to do. Send part 2, Murari Gupta part 2. And then you can circulate it. It's just the reason for bringing this up is he's so absorbed in Gaura Lila. For as long as I've known him, which is a long time, like 30, 35, maybe more, 40 years, he's drenched in Gaura Lila. So if there's something I want verification, he'll know where it is, and he'll be able to say it verbatim. He's an amazing person, very elevated Vaishnav. He loves Lord Chaitanya and his Lord Leela. So that's that question. Is there some validity in this? Probably. A good place that you can look before I even do that is Gorgona Deshtapika. You know that, Kavi Karnapur. Yeah, so the other question, okay. Jamuna Jivana.
Maharaj, I just want to comment on that. I heard you say many times that pastime.
Yes, but where's the scriptural reference? And I can't tell you where the scriptural reference is.
My recollection is in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Navadvip Dham Mahatmya. But I would want to verify it.
Yeah.
That's my recollection from hearing maybe a few
Yes,
times.
yes. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur doesn't pull stuff out of the air. You know, he has authority. So, is it yes? But what's the scriptural authority behind it? It's just good to ask.
It's already got verified, Maharaj.
What's that?
No? Oh.
Okay.
Maharaj, it's a Chinese question, and you actually almost answered it already. Like, if we follow the process of sadhana bhakti and follow our guru's footsteps and actually come to Golok Vrindavan. So you mentioned how Gopas felt, each of them felt that Krishna looks at him. So in spiritual world, with many Gopas, Manjaris, does everyone kind of feels like that intimacy or connection with Krishna?
Same. Different, Sakya rasa, Madhurya rasa, different. Intimacy, same.
So millions, doesn't matter because Krishna is...
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Shri Radhika. Varsana, I'm expecting you to ask something. You're next. Go ahead.
Guru Maharaj, in one of the slides, it said that the calves develop greed for grass by Brahma's will. And that really puzzled me. How is it that Brahma, although a jiva, albeit a very elevated jiva, his will can move other living entities, particularly the calves?
Yeah. No, there's a sanctioner, there's a super soul, Anumanta. Brahma can't do what Brahma does without the sanction of the sanctioner. But he has powers, like superpowers. No, there's a limit to his superpowers, but he has superpowers. Free will, it doesn't mean that free will is taken from the cows. They become robots and they go for greener grass because the robot signal says, go for greener grass, sir, or lady. So they go.
And Guru Maharaj, another question that comes to mind is on this topic, if it is in fact scriptural that Lord Brahma took the form of Haridas, took the form of Haridas Thakur in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. During the Vaishnava etiquette seminar that just concluded, Haridas Thakur was glorified as the emblem of Sadachar, that not only does he, his achar is perfect, his prachar is perfect.
Yes.
So what is the special qualification of Lord Brahma that he received such, or the most exalted status among Lord Chaitanya's devotees?
Why did he do boo-boo when he was so exalted, or how did he become exalted?
I'm curious to know what is the special qualification of Lord Brahma that he received the most exalted.
Okay. The statement is 100 lifetimes of flawless execution of Varnashram Dharma. Try one day. You have something further? Okay. You don't have to. I just pulling your leg.
I can share one thing and perhaps... so you mentioned that Achyuta means he doesn't fall from this exchange of rasa. Was that the statement, Maharaj?
I remember the verbatim statement. I can go back to the slide and read it.
He never deviates from rasa. Yes, that's what I think.
Okay.
So that stood out.
Because that's who he is. Rasa Vaisaha. He never deviates from who he is. And therefore Achyuta. He never falls from who he is. In contrast, there's us, that we fall from who we really are. We're in La La Land thinking we're somebody that we're not, and we don't know who we really are, and we're Achyuta, we're fallen. That's the fallenness of forgetfulness of who we are and our relationship with Achyuta. Is that okay? Okay.
Sorry, I don't have a question.
Okay. Last question. You got the last question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. It's not much of the question, but it's understanding that from each of your lectures, I'm able to learn something new. And today, as you said, the only fear that we have or we could have is if at the last moment we will be able to remember Krishna. Because in today's time, we do live in anxiety and fear and uncertainty, but all that can be left when we are connecting to Krishna. But at the same time, in the last minute, if due to any
Krishna will intervene. That's the good news. Krishna knows, and Krishna will intervene. He'll appear in your mind. He'll appear in your heart. He'll take care of everything. So we don't have to worry about Krishna. We have to worry about our mind.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And if you don't come tomorrow, that's okay. You can attend the class remotely or hear the YouTube. But part 2 of chapter 13 is very nice.